welcome to a new video, and today I'm off to Grand Tourer in Melbourne's north. They're the Ford GT specialists. Last time I visited they were in the midst of restoring an XB Coupe and XA sedan. There's something rare and quite colourful up on their hoist according to their social media, so I'm popping along now to check up on those restorations, bring you some video of this new beauty I'm sure you're going to enjoy. Okay, Dan, hiya. Back again.
Yeah,
we've got a couple of new cars in the shop. And,
yeah, very busy at the moment. We've got the XY back from Panel and Paint, so that assembly's commenced on that one. We've got another purple XY in that's a bit of a rebuild and get the thing finished and running and for the customer. Okay. So yeah, okay. Plenty going on. Okay.
So what's the state of play with the XB and the red pepper?
Okay, so the XB's just come back from the exhaust shop. Silvio down at Glenroy Exhaust has just done a full exhaust system on the XB, so that's back now, and we can sort of start to hook in and get all the interior finished off and get the thing up and running.
So take us through what we got.
Okay, so it's basically had a full exhaust from the headers back. We put all the headers on the engine, got it all ready, got transported to Silvio, and he's put a full 3-inch exhaust system, twin system right through with all manual bends and everything. So yeah, for the power she's making, it should run pretty good.
Yeah, sounds pretty good. And yeah, now definitely sets it off, doesn't it, at the back with the.
It does, yeah. The chrome tips look excellent on these.
Now this is up for debate, but I'm now torn between what do I like best, the back end of the sedan or the back end of the coupe.
Yeah,
should we have a look at the XA?
Yeah, we'll go have a look at the XA. So the XA's also had the full exhaust system, but this engine in this one's fairly mild. It's just a bit of a cruiser, this one. It's not really a high performance rebuild or anything. Yeah. So.
Now, it's always been sort of questionable for me, just coming here, that sloping back end. We just don't, and I can remember, dare I say it, a Vauxhall Viva, which would probably be a Tirana.
Yeah.
Back having that sort of sloped back end, and maybe the Mark III Cortina.
Yeah.
With the Coke bottle, would it have had a sloped?
Yeah, it's definitely that early 70s styling. It's definitely changed from the earlier, what we call a box car.
Right.
You know, the XY is more square and robust, whereas
well, we'll come
the
to
XA and XBs, the lines are all refined and they're a bit more curvy.
Yeah. Did it ever get termed as a Coke bottle look over here?
I'd say the coupe's probably more the Coke bottle look with the big rear end on them. Yeah. And the quarter panels.
But yeah, I'm certainly just that the whole light business at the back. Although you do miss the 351 in the middle, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, it is. It is definitely.
Okay, so a bit of a special build going over in the corner with the yellow ochre.
Yeah, we'll go have a look at the yellow ochre XY. This car come to us a while ago, and we did the full body and paint on the car. This car had a unique history. It was tucked away in a shed for many years, and it ended up going to auction. The owner passed away, and that's the only reason the car came up for sale. So it went through Shannon's auctions, got auctioned off, and back in the day when this was sold through the auctions, it was quite a high asking price for the car, what it went for. Sort of up the top where they were.
Right.
But the owner, when he's seen it, he wanted it and thought, I can't miss out on this.
Did he have a special, did he have a link to it? Did he have to have it because his dad had one or anything like that?
No, he's got a couple of cars, so he's always liked them, and it was just something that he wanted.
Right.
And I think the most appealing option on this car is the factory wind-back sunroof.
Oh, great, yeah.
Yeah, which is a very desirable option.
You don't, very popular in the day, or just? There
were some cars, but obviously at the time it's quite expensive.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not even sure. That might be my first.
Yeah, so they were made by Goldie back in the day.
Sorry, what the cassette?
The full sunroof. So it's basically comes up from underneath, and they cut the roof out and then fold the roof over and spot weld it all in.
So did you say it's factory?
Yeah, it's factory ordered with a sunroof. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So and there was a company outside of Ford that made them for them.
Yeah, so Goldie made sunroofs for cars all around the world, even the Porsches and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, really? Right, okay. It's a name brand I'm not aware of.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, I can see. So the work has begun. This is all your
Yeah. All my handiwork.
specification that's
Yep.
back to factory with the
Yeah, all the
spray.
factory overspray.
Yeah.
So this is how they're all painted from factory.
That's amazing,
Which most painters now would try and paint the full door and get coverage everywhere, but they weren't like that back in the day from the factory.
Right.
So we're trying to replicate what they did back then.
Yeah.
Even down to, you'll see, don't know if you can pick it up on the camera, but the peel in the paint.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which most of the cars now, they're trying to flat rub them and get them as shiny as possible. But
any particular light? Sorry. No, I can't pick it up. I don't
yeah,
think.
it's probably
Maybe
hard
will
to pick
be on
up,
the-
but yeah, you may
It's there,
see.
viewers. I can see. Yeah. But even though that's going to be under a door card, it's still
Yeah, it's still trying to
desirable.
replicate it the way it was. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Okay. Anything else that's particularly special about this?
Probably one of the good things about this car is that the interior, because it had been stored so long out of sunlight and everything, it had a really good interior in the car, so we've tried to retain the full original interior.
Right.
So even down to this top crash pad,
Right.
that's an original one.
Sorry, just explain again. Where it was kept, it was put away, and then
Yeah, it was in the shed for many years. It was last registered in, I think, 1989.
Right.
So it got tucked away from then.
okay.
So that's
the
why
same-
the whole interior is in really good condition, even the door cards, everything.
Yeah. Is that the same sort of age? Oh, the same sort of time as that one that's up in Sydney that had to be lifted out over the trees and that.
Yeah,
was
the XA, yeah.
that was
Yep.
an XA, was it?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm seeing that video. Okay, so what stage are we at? What are you actually doing at the moment?
Okay, so the next step, so I've just pulled out the wiring loom. We're ready to install this, so the full loom has all been all gutted out and a lot of the wires replaced, but we retain all the factory, you see all the original colours and everything on the wires with all the traces,
Yeah.
and we use all the genuine plugs and put the factory, all the part number tags, everything goes back on them.
Japan.
Yeah,
So
they were
made-
actually, some stuff was made overseas.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah, that's all brand new fuses. It's all, everything's redone in it. All
Yeah.
the terminals detailed.
Oh, wow.
So it gets fairly
Sorry,
extensive
can I just
to,
get a bit of focus on?
yeah, sure. Gets fairly extensive into the detail we try and go to
Yeah.
with these cars.
And so who's that sent off to? You got somebody
Yeah, our auto
doing that
electrician.
painting and-
I used to do all the looms, but it's very time consuming, so I'm too busy assembling the cars now to have time to do all this stuff. But yeah, so I'll do all the install and all that of the loom and fit it all out and do all the wiring testing and before everything's powered up and make sure everything's going to work.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, so we're going to fit the wiring loom to the car. So
Okay.
get all the engine bay fitted out, and Michael's going to pull all the loom through. I'll feed it through from under the dash, and we'll get it all in.
Great stuff.
Ready to go, Ben?
Yeah. So this one's going to be a bit of a show car.
Yeah, this one, the owner wants to take it to the GT Nationals at Bathurst in New South Wales, which is in May next year. So we're planning on having the car finished for that, which he'll have the car back before then. So he's got a bit of time up his sleeve to do a bit of detail work and cleaning and all those little chores to display the car.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, he can transport it up there. So we're just going to start feeding this loom through for on Mick's side. So I'll go through this hole here where the main loom feeds in. We've just got to pull a section through at a time.
See Mick on the other side.
That's one of the biggest plugs that I've got to go through, which is for the voltage regulator on the support panel. Just hold it there, Mick, for a second. I'll feed the headlight plug through.
Presumably, just by the fact of the name, GT Nationals is the one the GT owner would want to win.
Yeah, for me it's not necessarily about the winning side of it, it's more about just displaying the cars and people get to see them.
Right.
At the last Nationals I went to at Bathurst, they had approximately 400 cars there.
400, wow.
Which was quite a big event, and being at the track, it's the icon place where, you know, Alan Moffat and all those guys race these cars and made them famous. Just hold it there for a sec, Mick.
Yeah.
So now we're going to feed the engine side of the loom through. So we just got to go through in sections. And then we've got our main grommet, which is here, which we'll feed that through last, and that'll pull through the firewall. The main thing, you've got to carefully do it just so you don't nick the tape on the way through on the sides of the hole.
Yeah.
So we just go...
It's deductible, hey?
Yeah, that's just +2 for the insulation on the loom so it doesn't nick any of the wires.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just about there on the engine bay side. More feed. How's that, Mick? That's all the way through?
Yeah, it's all the way through.
Beautiful.
As the grommet's popped up. Yeah.
Yep. So now the next task, we've got to feed one side of the loom runs around here and feeds through on these clips. So that powers our wiper motor across and onto the engine. And then the other half comes around here, does all our voltage alternator, regulator, through to the headlights and around to your horns. So it basically wraps right around the bay.
Tell us about even the the screws. They're not just any screws, the nuts and bolts and what have you. They're all period correct. And
we try and run on cars like this. We try and run all the genuine nuts and bolts. Don't really like to put anything aftermarket if we can avoid it. Even down to some of these loom clips, like we've refurbished the original ones and we try and pick the best ones out of our collection to reuse. It's just little things like that.
Yeah.
To some people it may be a bit fussy, but we like to make the cars as close to the original as we can.
What was in your head 20 years ago to keep hold of those loom clips and whatever?
Yeah, well back then actually, Neil used to say even stuff that was buggered is like, just throw it out, we don't need it. And I'd say, no, let's just hang on to it. I don't know why I did that back then, but...
So it was your thing, clearly, yeah?
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
Even stuff that was torn or whatever, I'd still just keep it. And we had the room, so we kept it and put it upstairs. And luckily we did. Who was to know back then?
Yeah.
It's a shame in the factory we were in, a lot of the cars we used to wreck out, we didn't have room for the body shells. We had room for the parts, but not to keep the body shells. So a lot of the body shells and everything went down to the scrap metal. And even good cars, like we used to wreck out GTs, everything, and just send them out to scrap metal. Who was to know back in the 90s?
Yeah.
Because you'd buy a GT for $5,000 to $10,000, wreck it out, and you get more than your money back for the parts.
Yeah.
So you just think to yourself, well, we don't need to shell it, have rust in the inner and outer sills and bits and pieces, and think, oh, it's too much rust for a panel beater. But now guys are fixing stuff 10 times worse than that.
Really? Jeez. Oh, well, I suppose, I mean, that's every car all around the world that's become a collectible. They would all been scrapped in the 80s or 90s and whatever. Yeah. And then that's without taking into consideration scrappage schemes. And did you have that scrappage schemes here?
Not here, no. I don't believe we did.
Right.
No.
Wow. Yeah. I know one guy over in the UK looking after the Ford Sierras and that RS 500s.
Yeah.
He's talked about sweeping up little clips and nuts and bolts that now he's searching the internet for.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's how it is now. But yeah, all the nuts, bolts, clips and fasteners, we kept all that stuff.
Yeah.
And we just had buckets and buckets of it.
Right. yeah.
Yeah.
So presumably you could do one of these in your sleep now?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I've done that many.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll rough out the loom, get it all set up and just do some little tweaks. Start setting out all the solenoids and all the stuff that needs to go in. And then yeah,
Cool.
get it ready for an engine.
Anything in particular are you waiting on now for this car?
We've got the majority all restored, so on this one it's only a few tedious little bits and pieces as we're going. If there's something that's not finished, we're going ahead and we'll just do those little items as we're going, so on the run.
The dash is going on, but it's hold-ups in.
Yeah, that'll be probably next week. We'll put the dashes in those two cars.
Tell us a bit, the hold-ups on, I heard a clock even.
On the XA we're waiting on the clock. His original clock was no good, it was not salvageable, so we've had to chase up another clock. So that's the one thing, it's much easier to put it in before the dash goes in the car, so we thought we'll wait for that, and once we get that item we'll put it in the car.
And sourcing that clock is that an easy thing? You know where they are?
You just need to know all the right people to ask.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the hard thing.
And is there a COVID tax on the clock now? Or?
Sometimes that's the problem you have. If people know you're looking for something, the price goes up and there's nothing you can do about it. And they know you want it. Because you can't just go down the street and buy another one. That's the problem.
Sure.
This stuff's all drying up.
Cool. Okay. Right. Okay. One more to have a look at. Okay, what do we got here, mate?
Okay, so this XY, it's just come in for, the owner started putting it together himself. I think he bought it as an unfinished project, and he's completed what he could, but got to a stage where he was like, oh, I don't know which direction to go with the rest of the car. So he contacted Dave, booked the car in. It's basically wanted the diff pulled out of it and go through the whole diff, rebuild the diff centre, just a variance of works. We've done a bit of a list on the car, what it needs, and gotten back to the customer. So we'll just work our way through them. We've got to get the car running, check all the timing and all that stuff, new exhaust system. So yeah, just complete the package for him.
Right, okay. That's a pretty specky interior, that's cool.
Yeah, it's very desirable combo. Back in the, I would say the late 90s, one of the cars that got restored from Jason at Preston Panels, he owned the car. It was Wild Violet White Trim XY GT. And I remember even when I first saw that car, I just thought, wow, what a combo. And that was before, you had all your other colours, but Wild Violet White Trim, it was just so different. No one had ever seen it.
So it's not out of factory then?
It is a factory combo.
Right.
But it was very rare to see it.
Right.
There wasn't too many made that colour.
Yeah.
So.
Too garish for the Australian taste in the 70s.
It is a bit of a Larry combo, but a lot of people love it.
Come the 80s and 90s, it was bang on.
You could imagine back in the 70s when that colour combo ran off the production line in the 70s.
I'd imagine the buyer probably got some earache from his mates, wouldn't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There was actually some issues with the paint back in the day on the Wild Violet cars from the factory. They had paint warranty issues.
Right.
Paint, yeah.
So would they have gone back in and resprayed a different colour or come?
Which did happen. Some may have got painted different colours. Because after the 70s, some people would go, oh, I don't like that combo, and they'd go and change it to maybe a red or whatever the colour. Yeah.
It's like having an avocado bathroom suite from the 70s.
It is.
You soon got rid of that.
Yeah, that's right.
Come the 80s or 90s or whatever.
But it's definitely a standout combo when you see it with the orange stripes and everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, bit of wow factor.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll hang around, see some spannering getting done on this and you on the other one.
Yep, definitely.
But oh my gosh, yeah, this is. You said this was not a home backyard build, though, was it?
Yeah. So I believe he bought the car sort of semi-complete, and he's done some stuff. I think he might have fitted the engine and done some tasks like that.
Right.
And then it didn't have a gearbox back in the car. So
when you say semi-complete, though, who would it have been done by? Another shop or?
I believe he just purchased the car off someone. I'm not quite sure who.
Right,
but
okay.
He sort of completed some tasks and brought it to us for the finish off.
Yeah. Wow. So, is that list of things to be done? Is it expanding, or has it expanded since you got tucked into it?
We've been fairly extensive with what we check on the cars, just knowing the cars back to front over the years. You know what to look for. So even things like wheel bearing preloads, you grab the wheel, it's got movement in the front wheel. Some of those items, It's just little things, but it makes the car drive so much better when all that's correct.
Right.
So we'll just go and tweak things, and we'll get the car up and running, and then we'll drive it and we'll sort the car, because it'll need sorting. Things will need adjusting and tweaking, and something may rattle, and you've got to go fix all those little items.
So, and how long's this job going to take?
I'd like to think we'll have it out of here in the next probably 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, okay.
So it's more a short-term sort of job.
Yeah, yeah.
And what we're generally doing, we're trying to squeeze one of these in between all the resto jobs.
Sure.
So we'll be working on the restos, and maybe every 2 or so weeks we'll squeeze in a job. We just had an white XB leave, which we did 2 weeks worth of work on.
Yeah,
so
missed that one. Another one I missed,
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, mate. All right, well, I'll let you get back to work. Thank you very much.
No problem at
Come
all.
and see this one start
Excellent.
up in a few weeks, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Nice
definitely.
one. Cheers. Okay, so Mick, you're working on the XY. What you got going on here?
I've just replaced the idler arm for the steering.
Uh-huh. Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Quite perished, eh?
Yeah. They get a bit of play in them.
Uh-huh. Is that the same on the other side, was it?
Only on one side they are.
Right, yeah.
The other side will have the steering box with a pitman arm.
Yeah. What's its duty? Was it?
This is just controls the drag link off the steering box. So the steering box, the steering box will push this long arm here, and long arm's attached to this pivot, which is your idler arm, which will turn obviously your tie rods, which will turn your wheels. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, we've put a new idler arm on that, just so hasn't got any knocking, or just makes for easy steer as well.
Yeah. Okay. So what else we've got going on under here?
We've noticed doing some checks over this car. It's got play in the front wheel bearings.
Oh, right.
So you can probably just see it a little bit. Probably just hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. A bit of a knock there. So we'll remove these dust caps and adjust these wheel bearings slightly. So just to tighten it up a bit. That is a little bit too loose. So yeah.
Right. Are you going to do that now?
I can do that now. Yep.
Great. Go for it. Cool.
So what we do is we just tap that little dust cap off. Eventually come off just a little bit at a time.
You can't buy them new either.
Oh, you can buy them new,
Oh,
yes.
right,
Yeah,
oh,
you can buy them. Yep. Let's try and save some parts. So then you got your... So that has a retainer on the bearing. So we'll have a split pin to hold that retainer in, just keeps everything intact sort of thing. So we'll remove that split pin and cap. So that split pin comes out, which lets you remove that retainer, which gives you a nut there. So this is what will adjust your wheel bearing. So if that's too loose, you're going to have way too much play.
Should that be moving at all?
The actual nut?
Yeah.
Yeah, the nut, you should never tighten up the nut too tight, which means you're going to put too much preload on the bearings. That's how you wear your bearings. So that nut's there just to keep everything intact, and what holds that nut still is that, like I said, that cap, that retainer, and you've got the split pin that'll hold that in place, so it can't go anywhere once the split pin's in.
Okay.
But this will adjust your preload on the bearing, so we'll do that now. So I just use a shifter, so we know that you can even just see the disc, it's got a little bit of movement in it as well. So what we do is we just tighten it up just so we start to feel, starting to get a bit of preload in the bearing. And as you can see already, it's stopped the movement.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I might just give it just a back off, and I'll go again. That's a lot better. So that's so much better. Yeah. So
Cool.
and what you'll find is if you put new bearings in the car, if it, on a fresh build, you'd go for a drive, and after a few Ks, you'd want to check them again because they'll bed in. So yeah, then you probably want to make sure they're tight again, so they do wear in.
Sure.
Probably a good idea to get them done on, get them checked on a service anyway when they get serviced. So
Yeah.
just want to make sure that that lines up. So I like to use a new split pin. I might have to go a little bit smaller. Just trim the excess. That's it. Just put your dust cap back on. And that's it.
Cool.
That's it, all adjusted.
Done. Yeah. Okay. And you were mentioning is that the brake line there coming? Be a bit
Yeah,
loose?
so
That's
when it
gonna-
came in, that brake line was felling on that control arm,
Oh right. Yeah.
which is not a good thing. So
Yeah.
it rubbed through the brake line.
Right.
So we just had to adjust it pretty much.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's enough
Extend it.
clearance there now.
it's got enough clearance there because once the car's on the ground, so
Yeah,
this is up,
of
so
course,
the control arm
yes.
will come down.
Yeah.
Once the car's on the ground, that'll lift up probably
Yeah.
another couple of inches.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So this is all new, all these lines and everything.
Yeah. So the customer previously before they brought it to us, so from what I know, it was an unfinished car. So
Yeah.
he's brought it to us to finish off, but there's
Yeah.
some new parts on the car, some second-hand parts, but we're just trying to get it right for him for a roadworthy, and so he can get the car running and he can use it. So yeah.
Nice one. Thanks very much, mate. Thank you.
But he does it so easily.
He does, yeah.
Hollywood.
He's well trained. He's got 3 series, 3 seasons.
Hollywood does it so easily.
I am recording.